Do you ever feel like you're doing everything you're supposed to but still falling short? Like you're running a race that has no finish line, carrying a weight that just gets heavier with every single step. You wake up each morning, and the to-do list is already a mile long. You pour your heart into your work, your family, your faith. You try to be better, do more, pray more, trust more. You keep telling yourself that if you just push a little harder, you'll finally get to that place of peace, that place of enough. But you're tired. So tired. Your soul is weary. This message, this moment, this is for you. Consider this your permission to just lay it all down. You've been running for a long time. Come on, rest for a while. You don't have to earn this moment of peace. It's a gift. Right here, right now, here is your permission. Stop striving. Be still. There's an ache that comes from trying so hard all the time, isn't there? It's that quiet hum of anxiety just under the surface on your busiest days. It's the voice that whispers, "You're not doing enough," even when you've given everything you possibly can. It's that feeling of being perpetually behind, measured against some standard you can't quite name but feel you can never ever meet. Our world celebrates the hustle. It holds up burnout as a badge of honor. We're taught that our value is tied to how productive we are, how successful we are, our ability to keep all the plates spinning without ever letting one drop. And so we try to build a life, a family, a faith that looks good from the outside. We build things because we saw them work for someone else, but sometimes God didn't give us the grace for that specific thing. We anxiously work from morning until late at night, believing that our own effort is the foundation of our security. But living this way has a cost. It drains the color from your world. It makes joy feel like a distant memory, and peace feel like an impossible luxury. You might even be surrounded by the very things you worked so hard for, yet feel completely empty and disconnected. You've built a life that looks successful, but it lacks the very spirit you were longing for. You've created routines that seem holy, but they feel hollow at their core. This isn't the life you were promised. This frantic, breathless chase was never the goal. The exhaustion you feel isn't a sign of failure, it's a signal. It's a merciful invitation from your Creator to stop, to breathe, and to consider a different way. Imagine you're a traveler on a long journey. At the very start, someone hands you a heavy backpack. They tell you it's yours to carry, that what's inside is precious, and that you must not, under any circumstances, set it down. So you start walking. At first you manage the weight, but as the miles go on, the straps dig into your shoulders. Your back aches. Every step becomes a huge effort. The journey is no longer about the beautiful views around you or the destination up ahead. It's only about the burden. You're so focused on not dropping it that you miss the entire point of the journey. So many of us are living exactly this way. We're carrying burdens we were never meant to carry. The burden of perfection. The burden of earning God's love. The burden of doing it all ourselves. The burden of fixing everyone and everything. The burden of our past mistakes and all our future worries. We believe deep down that our salvation and spiritual growth depend on our own good works and our own effort. But Jesus has a different word for you today. A gentle and revolutionary word. He says, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me. For I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy, and my burden is light." Notice the exchange he's offering. You come to him with your heavy burden, the one that's crushing you, and he doesn't just help you carry it, he gives you his. And his yoke is easy. His burden is light. Why? Because it's a yoke of grace, it's a yoke of relationship, not a yoke of striving. He does the heavy lifting. We just learn to walk with him, at his pace and in his strength. True rest isn't found in getting a day off, but in the soul-deep peace that comes from the finished work of Christ. So what is this grace? Let's just strip away the complex theology for a moment and see it for the simple, life-altering gift it is. Grace is permission to stop trying to earn what is already freely yours. Grace is God's unearned, unconditional favor. It's the stunning truth that his love for you isn't based on your performance. It doesn't go up when you're good and down when you mess up. You were saved by grace as a gift, not by anything you did. He doesn't love some future, more improved version of you. He loves you. Right now, in your weariness, in your struggle, in your imperfection. Striving is rooted in the subtle lie that what Jesus did wasn't quite enough, that we have to add our own efforts to finish the job. It's the voice of Cain, trying to bring the work of his own hands as an offering. But God isn't asking for your works, He's asking for your trust. The only work He requires is for you to believe in the one He sent. When you finally get that grace as a gift, it changes everything. It means you can finally exhale. You can lay down that heavy backpack. The pressure is off. You don't have to perform for God's affection. You don't have to pretend you have it all together. You're free to be weak, because His power is made perfect in weakness. You're free to be imperfect, because you are loved by a perfect Father. You are free to rest, not because you've earned it, but because it's a gift He wants you to have. If you ever feel like your exhaustion is a sign of weak faith, let me tell you about one of the greatest prophets, Elijah. Here was a man who had just come off one of the biggest victories in the Bible. He had single-handedly confronted 450 false prophets on Mount Carmel, called down fire from heaven, and seen God move in a miraculous way. By any measure of spiritual performance, Elijah was at the absolute top of his game. And what happened next? The queen, Jezebel, threatened his life, and this mighty prophet ran for his life. He ran until he couldn't run anymore, collapsed under a tree, and prayed for God to just let him die. He was utterly burned out, spiritually, emotionally, and physically done. How did God respond to this tired, defeated prophet? Did He scold him for his lack of faith? Did He tell him to get up and try harder? No. The God of all grace sent an angel to him, and the angel didn't give him a sermon. He gave him bread and water. He just said, "Get up and eat." After Elijah ate and slept, the angel came a second time, simply taking care of his physical needs. God met Elijah's most basic human need first, the need for rest and food. Then, God invited him on a journey to a mountain, and there God revealed Himself, but not in the way Elijah might have expected. There was a great wind, but the Lord wasn't in the wind. There was an earthquake, but the Lord wasn't in the earthquake. There was a fire, but the Lord wasn't in the fire. And after the fire came a gentle whisper. In that quiet, still voice, God met Elijah. Not in the big show, not in the performance, but in the stillness. He restored his soul and gave him new direction, not from a place of striving, but from a place of quiet, intimate connection. Your burnout doesn't disqualify you from God's presence. In fact, it's often in the wilderness of our exhaustion that God meets us in the most profound way, not in the noise of our striving, but in the gentle whisper that calls us to simply be still and receive. So how do we actually do this? How do we stop striving in a world that never stops pushing? It starts not as another thing on your to-do list, but as an act of surrender. It's not about doing more, it's about being more. Being still, being present, being held. Start small. Find just 2 or 3 minutes in your day. When you get home from work, before you dive into everything else, just sit. Set a timer if you have to. In that moment, you don't have to pray eloquent prayers. You don't have to read your Bible. You simply have to be. Focus on your breathing. With every inhale, imagine you're breathing in God's grace. With every exhale, imagine you're releasing your burdens, your worries, your need to be in control. Let go of the illusion that you're the one holding everything together. Cast your cares on the Lord, because He will sustain you. Listen to the silence. In a world this full of noise, stillness is a radical act. It's in the quiet moments that you can start to tell the difference between God's gentle whisper and the loud, demanding shouts of the world. He can refresh you more in 10 minutes of stillness than in a week of vacation. Look at what you're carrying. Ask God to show you the difference between the good things you've picked up and the God things He has given you. Sometimes our exhaustion comes from trying to keep something alive that we were never meant to carry in the first place. Be willing to let go of commitments that drain you instead of fill you. This isn't about being lazy, it's about active, trusting surrender. It's a daily choice to stop relying on your own strength and to start resting in His. If this message has spoken to your tired soul today, I want to invite you to do 2 things. First, just take a deep breath, and in the quiet of your own heart, give yourself permission to rest. And second, if you feel led, share this message with someone else you know who is weary. You never know who might need this same permission to finally stop striving. If you want more of these quiet, reflective moments, you're welcome to subscribe and join this community. We are all on this journey of learning to live from a place of grace, not grind. Friend, hear this final blessing over your soul. May you find the courage to lay down the burdens you were never meant to carry. May you open your hands and release your tight grip on control. And may you discover the deep, profound peace that is found not in doing more, but in resting in the one who has already done it all. He isn't disappointed in you. He isn't waiting for you to get it right. He is waiting for you, with open arms, inviting you to come and find rest for your soul. Your worth isn't in what you accomplish. Your worth was settled the moment you became His. You are a beloved child of God. So be still, cease striving, and know that He is God, and He will give His loved ones rest. Amen.